Now I can hear you.
All
Amazing
right.
what turning up the volume does.
Okay, you can hear me
Turn
okay?
it up. Turn it up.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes,
Okay. Am I coming through clear?
very clear.
Okay, because I've had some microphone issues in the past week or so, which I don't think are solely on this end. I think they're Google Hangout related, but
I've
anywho.
found that if I have an external mic plugged into my MacBook Pro, this works fine.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
internal mic, not so much.
Well, see, that's the thing is I have an external mic. Of course, I run it through a mixer, and just occasionally it just doesn't work. Of course, I've restarted the Mac a couple of times here lately, and I've also updated to their latest and greatest version of the OS. So it seems like there have been OS X bugs here lately that have been.
Yeah, there's been more than a few glitches.
Yeah, they haven't been highly publicized like some, but yeah, you're kind of like, I got to the point where I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to hit the update button anymore.
Yeah.
It works. It works. It's not broken.
Yeah, I don't need to change anything. Oh, I have to upgrade to publish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they're getting pretty aggressive about it. They're like, it used to be kind of like you could say, well, remind me later, and now it's like,
Right.
you want to try in an hour?
We'll download this for you tonight. How's that?
Yeah, that's really getting aggressive. Which I guess is fine, but still, it's a double-edged sword.
It is.
Okay. Well, I did hit the start broadcast button, so we are live.
Yay.
So hold all your NDA materials until after the show. But I don't know why I hit go live. I was clicking buttons and stuff, and for some reason my brain said, go ahead and start it.
So we'll go live.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
everybody.
Yeah, before I knew it, my finger was already clicking the button. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm here live by myself. Awesome. So I saw so while we're waiting for everybody to show up, I saw we're in that zone where if you want to submit your apps,
Yes.
you better do it fast.
It's due today, isn't it?
I
I
have to go.
think so.
I think so. Maybe so. Yeah. So.
Yeah, by midnight today, if you're going to have an app out by Christmas.
Yeah.
And that's assuming you get approved the first time through.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. There's always that. What I am excited about is that there are murmurs, rumblings, word on the street where people are getting, a collective conversation of people being upset about the App Store and its processes and how hard it is to find things. And, I think we're due for some changes.
Yeah, but these rumblings have been going on since the very beginning. And the Apple process has always been somewhat painful to get through. Yeah,
I think though that what's going to happen is Google and maybe Amazon, to the lesser degree, are going to push changes that is going to drive Apple to have to make changes, right?
Yes.
And to some degree,
when those become a viable source for revenue for the developer, because I think you'll still finding that most developers are saying 80% is coming from Apple and 20% from all the other stores combined.
Well, I tell you, I think the one thing that's really going to start driving it, provided, depending on the success of the device, is iPad Pro, because a lot of the developers for business applications for iPad Pro are like, look, we can't develop a real
Right.
enterprise class business application on the current App Store model.
Yes. Yeah. And you can see that with a lot of the larger businesses saying that we're pushing updates every 2 weeks now. And basically it's still a month behind, assuming that they're going through the same process that everybody else is. Now, I don't know. Maybe these larger companies like Facebook don't have to go through the same approval process that Joe Schmo, a small indie developer, has to go through. But I think it's still the same case for everybody, that they're all getting reviewed this way.
Yeah. Well, and also the review times are a factor. But also just the monetization model, right? If you go buy a desktop application today, you're still paying $20,
Yes.
probably at a minimum, maybe 15, but some applications are $50 or more. So when you're talking about a 99-cent one-time 99-cent sale, it's harder for those developers to justify that.
I love starting to see a lot of this around that. Hey, if you like our app, buy us a cup of coffee. Donate $5 towards it. You're paying more for a cup of coffee than you are for this app that helps improve your standard of living.
Right.
It's the system's definitely broken. We definitely need to see if we're going to continue seeing professional mobile developers, especially on the small scale. There's going to have to be some changes.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that some developers have learned to create entirely new versions of their app, right? So they just go out and they just say, okay, well, I'm done. I made a 99-cent sale off of this app.
Right. I'm not updating it anymore.
Yeah, I can push notifications to you and things like that to let you know about this. So I have a marketing channel. I have a way to communicate directly with the customer. But I'm going to create a whole nother version,
right.
and you're going to have to buy it again.
Come out with that new version and push it out and make money from it entirely separately.
And I think upgrades are a fair thing for people to pay for. I mean, like I'm recording here locally. I'm recording the Hangout with ScreenFlow just as a backup in case the live feed to YouTube doesn't do its job. Anytime there's a major version, you go from a 4.0 to a 5.0, that's a paid upgrade.
Yes.
Anything that's minor, it's like a dot release, dot 1, dot 2, whatever, you get that for free. But if it's considered a major release, you have to pay for it again. And it's usually not. It's only a portion of what the original cost of the app was. So it's not like it's a big number.
For a desktop, I think we're used to seeing that. We're used to we get the free upgrades, the minor upgrades, the updates for free. But then when there's a major revision update that comes out, we see we have to pay for it.
Right.
And the App Store is starting to get used to that model, and eventually, even for my textbooks, I'll eventually move to that model that when there's a major change, so it's just so far there's only been minor updates based upon Corona SDK's updates, so I haven't felt justified in going to version 2.0.
Right. Yeah, I realize that these conversations have been going on for a while, and people you can never make everyone happy, but I think there are enough legitimate grievances, and if there are enough people talking about it, not just the developers themselves, but also when you go and listen to other tech shows and stuff like that, people are talking about it. The media starts to pick it up, and people start to complain about it rather loudly. I think we'll see some changes. We had the same thing when I don't remember who was in office, or so to speak, at the time. But remember when everything was sort of this textured design. The design language wasn't flat like it is today, and there was this sort of this, hey, what this needs to change, it's getting outdated, and things changed. It grumbled. People grumbled for a long time, but eventually it changed.
I don't know. I still don't like the flattened graphics.
You don't like the
flat
design?
Used to it, but I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I guess it's 2:00. I mean, we're started, but we'll put a beginning on the show. That way we can chop it for the podcast. So.
2:00 in your part of the world.
Yeah.